We want the smoke. Hey, we want the smoke. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your homeboy, the tyrannical boss himself, Mr. HD in the building. Like I just switched the background like that. That was the wrong background. But yeah, man, we here. We gonna talk about some pro wrestling news. Appreciate everybody in the building as always. Wow Nation, gang, gang. Everybody that ends up watching on Twitch, we are multi-streaming now. We are in the multiverse. So we are multi-streaming on Twitch and Twitter as well. So appreciate everybody who comes in on those platforms. But you already know we at Wow Nation. We on the tubes. So I appreciate everybody watching on YouTube. KGM, what's good? Dave Favors, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to see you in here in the early show. The super villain of the IWC is always in the building. Gruss, what's going on, man? So we got a lot of pro wrestling news to talk about. There was a lot of stories over the weekend, a lot of stories that came out this morning that we'll try to cover and get through each one of them one by one. I'll be here for an hour or so locked in with you guys. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, or you guys already subscribed. So just like the video, let some wrestling fans know what we doing over here at Wrestling on Weed. We're almost at 200 subscribers. Hopefully we'll hit that here in the next few days, and then we could be on our way to 1,000. But once again, we are almost at our 4,000 watch hours to be able to actually monetize the channel so we can turn this into a gig. Like it used to be, and that'll be great. And the fact that we're so close with to the watch hours with less than 200 subs is just a testament to you guys. You know what I mean? Because you guys sit here and watch the whole streams and sit through the whole shows, and if you miss it, you come back and you watch it later. So all that shit is super appreciated by myself and the whole gang over here at Wrestling on Weed, man. Hopefully we'll be able to get all the guys back on the show very soon. I think Two-Face might be a little too busy right now because he got his new gig or whatever, and he got 2 kids. So not sure if he'll be making it back on at any point with his schedule. But I know Trav is always on the podcast and the prediction shows, and I know once Fizz gets settled with his family and all that stuff, he'll be back as well. So hopefully we can get some more people in here as well. I really need to send out the post or the email to the people that I was actually recruiting for the show. If you guys know anybody who might be good at the job at sports commentary and wants to come and join the Wrestling on Weed team, let me know. But this isn't a situation where you could come on here with a webcam, unless it's that new Insta 360, because that webcam is freaking amazing, and it's only $300. If you starting YouTube, that is the camera that I recommend 1,000%. If you're starting like a podcast or something and you need a webcam, you know what I mean? But if you gotta move around and stuff, maybe you want to get something else. But yeah, for a webcam, that thing is legit amazing. But that's a whole different discussion. So let's get into the wrestling news today. Today is August 8th, 8/8/22. So we have a lot of news on this Monday, getting ready for Monday Night Raw tonight. I'm excited about Monday Night Raw once again. Shocker, I know it's a new feeling to be excited for Raw, and I like it. I like it a lot. But on today's show, I'm actually working on another podcast that you guys will like a lot because we're fixing WWE men's tag team division. We'll be doing the women's division as well. But yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. Also, who are your favorite themes? Well, I'll tell you guys that at the end of the show. We'll talk about that in a minute. The Wild Nation Forbidden Door is cracked open. KGM, I like that. I like that. I like that. That is as accurate of a statement as one can make in these YouTube streets. I don't know how that got so big. That's what she said. There you go. Yeah, so yeah, we trying to spread the word, man. Trying to actually get the pod out to multiple people, get the channel out there to multiple people, grow on multiple platforms. Like I said, since I'm 100% focused on giving you guys content first and foremost before I do anything else, on these social media platforms, that's what it's gonna be. You know what I mean, it's gonna be Wow Nation as often as possible, sometimes twice a day. So you know, we here, man. Let's get into our first story though, because we're gonna talk about all of Triple H stuff. It's a lot of stuff coming up off the regime change and the ousting, and I still like to say ousting because he ain't quit. He got removed. Let's be clear. Vince McMahon wasn't quitting that job unless he had to. But we're going to talk about things coming up off of that. Obviously, on Friday night, we talked about it on the SmackDown Blunt ratings. We saw the return of one killer, Karrion Cross. Killer. I just want the cam joint to drop right there. Just killer, 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 cam. Yeah, I mean, that's why listen. I wouldn't be mad if they changed this theme song, but it would have to be that. It would have to be. It would have. He would come after killer, killer. That's the only way they could change his theme song. Otherwise, it's perfect. But yeah, so we got Karrion Cross and his beautiful hot wife, Scarlett, coming through SmackDown and returning and attacking Drew McIntyre and putting Roman Reigns on the clock. Once again, KGM is a Karrion Cross hater. Yeah, I mean, he makes that well known. We shall see who is correct about that. We shall see ultimately how he does on Raw or SmackDown, wherever he ends up. But he came back, which is leading to speculation that there might be some kind of situation with the belts where they're not having and I'm pretty sure I may have mentioned this, maybe Trav mentioned it at some time, but somebody should be fighting for one belt and not both belts, and Roman should be able to be able to hold on to one belt at least, or if he does lose them both, at least lose them to two different people, so we're not stuck in the exact same situation we are now, where one of the networks and one of the TV shows doesn't have a world champion, which is it's okay for a month or two, but then once it starts crossing over into record-breaking territory, then one show is just like, well, is he gonna be on both shows, or it just doesn't feel like they had, the shows have a champion. So I understand why the networks, why USA, may have pitched the idea of splitting the titles, and I think this came from Fightful Select, and they when they first discussed bringing back Karrion Cross, they said there was a specific pitch opened up. They said that Cross would be inserted into the Drew and Roman feud and be involved in a match for one of Roman Reigns' titles as opposed to both. I'm not 100% sure how they would get to that to make it make sense, but that's what I want to happen. Whether it's Karrion or Drew going after Roman. Fightful had also been informed that the USA Network wanted a top title featured on WWE Raw more often, as Roman Reigns is rarely seen on their show since winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. One USA Network pitch was to even have the interim title, though we're not sure that was ever seriously considered by WWE. That's just a dumb idea. There's nobody hurt. Why would you have an interim champion for? No one's hurt. He has both belts. So that's yeah. Don't ever let those guys in the writers' room. First and foremost. So yeah, get that out the way. And yeah, but I understand, their concern. Because Roman Reigns is a SmackDown guy, and that's his show. Even though he's the head of the table of all the shows, but SmackDown is Roman Reigns' show, so I could understand why the people over at USA and Raw would be like, yeah, can we put one of those on Bobby Lashley or something? You know what I mean? Drew McIntyre, who I'll get into that later. But yeah, can we put one of those on Drew or returning Karrion Cross? I think they'll return Karrion Cross to Monday nights. I think he fits better on Monday nights with the red and smoke and everything, the spectacle of Monday nights. I think that's a good idea to have him back over on Mondays. Yeah. What do you guys think about, should there be an interim title? Do you think that it's smart for them to only go after one belt? How do you think they should play it? Should it be a triple threat for one of the belts? Maybe a 2 out of 3 falls triple threat. I don't even know if I've ever seen that. Like a 2 out of 3 falls triple threat. Like, you know, somebody could still win both of the belts, or if somebody gets a pin, like one belt is on the line in the first fall, and then another belt is on the line in the second fall, and you could just do it like that. That's not 2 out of 3 falls, I don't think. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Have both of the matches back to back between the same three guys at the same time. So I think that's actually a pretty dope idea. And you could have, Roman Reigns lose the first one and then hold on to the Universal title in the second round. You know what I mean? In the second match. And I actually think that's a pretty fucking fire idea. You can get a fucking 45-minute match out of that. It's technically two matches, but yeah, you can have these guys main event. I guess, I guess they could just do it at the Cardiff event, the UK joint. I guess they might as well just insert carrying and do it like that. Triple threat. You know what I mean? Both belts, and split the titles that way. You could have Karrion Kross win win the first belt. And then, maybe even have if whoever wins the first belt, because if Roman wins the first match, then, he's not just going to be like, all right, I got one belt, I'm out. You know what I mean? His other belt got to be on the line. So all three will have to be in both matches, but I actually think that's a pretty dope idea. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. They should split the titles back up between the shows. No interim title. Fact. I agree, Dave. I agree. What's going on, V Arden? I don't know how to say that name. VRDVN. Thanks for watching over on Twitch, man. Much appreciated, man. We just cracked the Twitch back open. Like, I made that Twitch like a year ago and just never used it. So we Wrestling on Weed on Twitch. If you are on Twitch, we are over there now. So join in on the fun. From the Twitchverse, part of the multiverse. Yeah. And more news about Triple H, which is great, is that he plans on staying very aggressive as far as, recruiting talent is concerned. Obviously, in his new role as, overseer of talent relations and recruiting and do all that stuff. And, he's already brought in, EO, who was kind of on her way out the door. If you believe all the rumors, she was kind of looking to go back home and, maybe look for other opportunities there to bring, Bailey back from injury, perfect timing at SummerSlam, and have Dakota Kai, who was fired unjustly, along with some other people unjustly. I think Thatcher and Loomis were in the same batch of firings, but obviously over 200 people fired in the last few years from WWE. It's a long list. But to bring those ladies to the main roster, to have Ciampa and having a U.S. title match tonight against Bobby Lashley, which I am very excited to watch. Obviously one of Triple H's guys, one of the greatest NXT champions ever, one of the greatest heel champions in WWE in the last decade. Him and Goldie were the most entertaining thing. Listen, the man didn't have a theme song. His theme song was "Fuck You, Ciampa." That was it. You don't get better heel work than that. I'm sorry. It don't get much better than that. It was like the beginning of the Roman Reigns era. Yeah, I mean, this new Roman Reigns, the smugness of the Roman, like epic, great. And that Tommaso Ciampa, the heat and the slime baldness of that dude after he turned on Johnny Boy, that was some next level shit. You know what I mean? And he's getting his opportunity now. Ricochet getting the opportunity to get some big wins, not just being fodder for whoever they're trying to tell a story with. Fucking any heel they want to, let get a win, they got to put Ricochet in the ring. You know what I mean? To get him beat up. Mustafa Ali, who I'm a little more concerned about with Mustafa personally, and we're going to talk about this in this podcast that I'm working on now, fixing the WWE tag division. I think Mustafa would be excellent in the tag division, and I have a great idea on who his tag partner should be. But you guys, there's a little suspense for that episode of on a Wrestling High podcast. But yeah, he's giving people opportunities, man. So it's good to see that happening. But like I was saying, he's supposedly, not supposedly, he's reportedly going to be a lot more aggressive here in the near future. Uh, I got this one from, this is also from, yeah, this is from Fightful. He said that Triple H, he said, Fightful Select learned that much like Dakota Kai, Karrion Cross, and Scarlett returning, it came together very quickly. Fightful had heard earlier that they were among the talent discussed by Triple H and WWE higher ups about bolstering their main roster. He said, in addition, they were told that several other wrestlers have been discussed for returns, and a filling out process has occurred. Those that we spoke to, those that we spoke up, told us to not expect Triple H to step off the gas pedal anytime soon as he reshapes the roster and adds depth. The irony. We've also heard of several talent meetings individually with Triple H and have already taken place during a busy first week of kicking Raw and SmackDown into gear. This is all good stuff. I mean, obviously, I don't think that those were the only three people he signed. The first three people he could talk, he talked to, or it's like obviously there's been conversations with other wrestlers. I would assume, he's already maybe been on the phone with people like Timothy Thatcher or who, we remember the cage match with him and Riddle. Like we remember these things. Like we remember what Timothy Thatcher had to offer before he came to the main roster. Or did he ever make it to the main roster? I don't think he did. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm sure there's been conversations with other wrestlers about coming back. Tegan Knox, who I've mentioned a few times since all this broke, because I feel like her and Candice LeRae should be, along with Dakota Kai, should have been at the very top of the list of superstars, male or female, that they were bringing back. Because there was absolutely zero reason. I mean, obviously, if you're going to get rid of Johnny Gargano, you're probably going to get rid of his wife too. But they're two of the best wrestlers in the world when it comes, for their divisions. So it made no sense in the first place. It was just those old motherfuckers doing what they do. Like it is what it is. We can't even keep harping on it because obviously they didn't know what they were doing. They were holding the company back, and I feel like Triple H is trying to push it forward because what he mentioned, he dropped a line that I just loved, and I don't actually. Do I have the quote? I don't have the quote here. No, I don't have the quote here. But he said something, I don't want to misquote him, so this isn't verbatim, but he said something to the effect, speaking to the locker room talent, which is something that he says he wants to do more, is have more talent meetings and keep morale up and all these different things, which is great, which is something that Vince was obviously not good at. People couldn't really get a hold of him. Obviously, you could have a conversation with him one day and he could forget everything you talked about because he's fucking senile. So good thing he's the fuck out of there, and you got somebody in his 40s, late 40s, whatever, however old Paul is, and who could listen to the wrestlers and understand the wrestlers because they've actually had to be in that position of the wrestlers. And, it's just, it makes for a better environment. We already know that Sasha and Naomi's returns are pretty much imminent at this point. They're coming back because they don't have nobody to be mad at anymore. Yeah, I mean, outside of Kevin Dunn with the camera cuts, but we can get over that. We can get past that if the booking is really good. Like Kevin Dunn could be the last to go, even though he's part of the problem as well. Yeah, I mean, but it's there was more urgent people that needed to be removed from backstage, namely Vince McMahon and his immediate minions that were in control of the stories. So and talent relations, because obviously those were two things that were suffering in WWE. But Triple H says something to the effect of, we don't even know how to do it his way. Like, I don't even know, speaking of Vince McMahon, like, we don't even know how to do it the way that he does it. So we're just going to do it the way we know how to do it. And I love that. I was like, yes, yes. Like, there's no, like, oh, we got to keep this legacy going of Vince McMahon. He still likes the big guys, big beefy guys slapping man meat. The Vince thing. And Triple H is like, nah, bruh. Like, I understand, and I was part of it too. Like, Triple H ain't no small dude. He's part of the big guys. He's one of those guys. Like, he went and got his body right when he tore his quad, came back looking like the Terminator, because he knows Vince likes big dudes. So, that's what it was. You know what I mean? So he understands that era. So it's not like he doesn't get it at all, but he's like, I don't know how to run a wrestling company being that short-sighted. That's basically what he's saying. He's like, I can't look at these guys from the indies and all these other places that isn't the fucking football field and be like, yeah, he's talented. He can do all the moves and tell stories in the ring. Yeah, he cuts great promos, but he's only 6 foot tall and 190 pounds. Can't do shit with that. He's not larger than life. It's like, come on, man. I can't do none of that shit. He's definitely larger than life to me. I can't do none of that shit. So yes, it is entertaining. It is still a spectacle. Yeah, I mean, I don't have the timing or the athleticism or the balls to do half of the shit that they doing. So it is still a fucking spectacle. Yeah, I mean, that's why you got to get these dudes they respect as far as, pro wrestlers getting into the ring, especially the smaller ones, because they're is more dangerous. You would think that the smaller you are, the more these types of impacts hurt your body. Just taking normal back bumps hurt way more, I'm sure, to Adam Cole as opposed to Brian Cage or Bobby Lashley or anybody with muscles coming out their neck like that. It's just like, it is what it is. So I'm happy that Triple H is standing his ground and obviously has the support of his wife, who is, is this little tricky situation because that's her pops. You know what I mean? That's dad. He's the reason she's in that position. Obviously her hard work too. Stephanie's put in the work. But it's like, I don't know, man. Like well, I do know. I know that I'm happy that the regime change happened and everything is going as it's going now. I was just saying I don't know because it's like I kind of don't understand how that went on for so long. But when you have someone who's majority shareholder, someone who has all the power in every possible way, then I guess that's just where we got. And, I think we spent more time talking about how bad Monday Night Raw is and how much how torturous it is to watch than we actually did praising the show, and that's a problem. And SmackDown wasn't far off. SmackDown basically was trash for the last I don't even know how long. You have those Roman Reigns segments that are good, but they're no longer carrying the show like they were when he was doing the Jey Uso feud because that story was so compelling. The stories he's been telling over the last year haven't been as compelling, even though he's been doing a phenomenal job at getting him over. Before we move on to our next story, let me get over here to the chat, see what y'all talking about. Let's see. Cross will take the Money in the Bank briefcase from Theory. That's not horrible booking. I because I don't know what the fuck they're doing with Austin Theory. I don't know if anybody does, honestly. So, he was not on the show last week, obviously, because of his uncle passed away. Condolences to Theory on that one. But I think that as far as I believe in Theory still. Like I said, I still believe in Theory. I think the whole Vince McMahon stuff kind of soured me on him. Like I was on Theory, pause. I was like a fan of Theory before they start doing the Vince McMahon shit, just because even within the way he was funny in the group. Like they need to just bring that group back anyway. You know what I mean? All 5 of them, including Dexter Loomis and Indy Hartwell. They need to have the whole group. Like that was so entertaining. That group was so fucking entertaining. I know I'd rather have DIY back before the way. I get it. Me too. But I'm just saying, that's how good Johnny Gargano is. Everything he's a part of is just good. So he's definitely coming back, or at least he fucking better. But I think that we probably have a lot to look forward to when it comes to those guys returning. Let's see, what was I saying? Moose will come to WWE. I don't know. Do I want to see that? M- Moose versus Lashley? I don't know if I want to see that. Layla the interim, that's cap. That's all. That's super cap. First of all, that's super cap. I am the two time. You see it, two-time. Uh, WWE needs Jacob Fatu. Um, yeah, that dude's super talented, man. Big Oos, little big Oos. Call him little big Oos. You know what I mean? But yeah, Succotash was the best Roman Reigns. The troll. If Gruss suggested it is bad booking. Facts. Because if Gruss was in control, Amos would be Universal Champion at least, if not all the champions. So he would have just gave Amos the tag team belts. That's what would have happened. And Amos, unfortunately, speaking of more things going on, he may be in a little trouble because him, along with a couple people, haven't been seen on TV recently. And that was also mentioned by Fightful. They were talking about Kevin Owens as well. Kevin Owens, people like Kevin Owens, Amos, Lacey Evans, Ezekiel, all these people who are there, nobody's injured, everybody's healthy, everybody's good to go. It's just a lot of these cats are well, you seen Amos pull up on main event a couple times, but Lord knows if Triple H is, or if Kevin Owens is ever on main event, I'll shit my fucking head off. I don't even know what that means, but but yeah, man, so these guys are just, Kevin Owens is easy to figure something out. They're figuring out what they're going to do with him as far as storylines. He could do anything, so that'll be easy. But as far as people like Lacey Evans, who is a victim of the last bad booking of Vince McMahon, he did not know what the hell to do with her. Apparently, he was the one who was in control of most of her story and most of her booking. And obviously, oh, she's a blonde with boobs. Just have her wear a tight shirt and send her out there to say stuff. What do you want her to say, Vince? She's just have her pour out her heart so the fans fall in love with her. All right, cool. So she's a baby face. No. What? No. What? But you just said she's gonna pour out her heart, so people are gonna like her and cheer for her, right? No. It's like they're just so fucking confused. Just dumbass old people just don't know they're so out of touch, just don't know what the fuck is going on. They turn this girl babyface heel, babyface heel, babyface. They big showed her in like a month. They gave her Big Show's entire career in a month. It's like, how many turns can we do? This bitch turned babyface to heel to back to babyface in the same promo at one point, I'm sure. I was like, it was so confusing. But people like her, they gotta hit the reset button again. And it's gonna be difficult because she was just on TV. It's like, no, she just like told us we were all scum. Like we can't cheer for her. I'm sorry. It's over. They did it. They tried, but now you can never cheer for Lacey Evans again. Unless they're gonna turn her into some badass Ronda Rousey-esque, but that's not even her thing. So I don't even know. And they already got two of those, Ronda and Shayna, so they don't need that. So I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. But I think that they'll find something to do with most of these people except for Amos. Sorry, Gruss. I think Amos' career in WWE is extremely, let's just say TikTok. His last match might be against Karrion Kross. That might be the last match for Amos. They might actually put the clock. Be like, this is how long you got to be here, buddy. It's over. It's over. Amos is a spectacle, but barely. He's barely a spectacle because he can't really talk like that. He's not like a big talker or anything. You know, that's why he got MVP, but I guess he's intimidating, he's scary, but he can move. It's just he can't move. He can move, he just can't move. You know what I mean? It's like, it's still, especially when you seeing people like Ricochet, even you seeing people like Keith Lee in AEW and all these big dudes, Brian Cage, you could fly all over the ring, man. I don't need a 7'5" wrestler. Gigantor, the wrestler, doesn't impress me anymore. I want to see some level of skill or storytelling ability. And it's hard to tell a story with the guy that's that limited in the ring and on the microphone. So, you know, I don't know. Hopefully they'll find something to do with it. I don't want to see nobody lose their job, honestly. You know what I mean? But as far as who's prominently featured on my wrestling program, I care because I'm watching it. So if he's gonna be, relegated to a main event or, whatever shows they have outside of Raw and SmackDown, I'm cool with that. You know, maybe he could be somebody's heavy. He just doesn't need to be the star of the group. Like I see him as somebody's heavy and getting over like that, kind of like what they did with Aziz. He would have been a better version of Aziz, even though Aziz was a pretty good version of Aziz. There's no reason they should ever broke that team up anyway. Where the fuck is Apollo Crews? Oh, he's back in NXT, isn't he? I don't watch that show anymore, so I can't remember. So is he doing anything on NXT? I haven't heard about him doing anything in NXT. Did he get hurt? Somebody give me an update on Apollo Crews. But yeah, that was just more Triple H stuff. Moving on from all the backstage Triple H stuff, because that stuff is kind of never ending. It'll probably be something else out before we even end this story. Let's talk about let's talk about Bray Wyatt first. Let's talk about Bray Wyatt and how poetical this man is, how he be having people confused and all riled up on the internet, people trying to dissect this man's words and what have you. Every time Bray Wyatt, this is the power I want with my words. Every time that man speaks, the whole world is just like, what did he say? What did it mean? What is it? I don't know what that is, but it is something. I've got to pay attention. Like, that's power. That's the power that that Wyndham has over you guys. If you didn't see on his Twitter, I think it came out on Twitter. Yeah, it was on Twitter where he posted it. He posted a beautiful message. I'm going to read it here. It says, "Wrestling is not a love story. It's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale from masochists." I love that word, masochist. It's just a cool word to say. A comedy for people who criticize punchlines, a fantasy most can't understand, a spectacle no one can deny. Lines are blurred, heroes are villains, budgets are cut. Business is business, but it can also be a land where dead men walk. Wink, wink. Where honor makes you elite. Wink, wink. Where demons run for office. Wink, wink. And rock, he's not saying wink, wink. And rock bottom is a reason to rejoice. Woo. It's an escape. A reason to point the blame at anyone but yourself for 2-3 hours. An excuse to be a kid again. And nothing matters except the moment we are in. Wrestling is not a love story. It's much more. It's hope. And it's in a world surrounded in hate, greed, and violence, a world where closure may never come. We all know a place that has hot and cold hope on tap, for better or for worse. I ain't gonna lie, that just might be one of those beautiful things I've ever heard about pro wrestling. I have never heard anyone describe pro wrestling more perfectly than what I just read to you guys. Obviously, I was throwing in some jokes in there, but you guys, I'm sure, have read the tweet at this point. This is exactly what pro wrestling is. I know people wanted to read into it. Oh my God, he used people's catchphrases and mentioned people's gimmicks. Oh my God, dead men walk. Oh yeah, he's talking about the Undertaker and where honor makes you elite. So is he going to come back with with the Undertaker as a tag team in AEW. I guess that's what's gonna happen, right, Cliff? Yeah, that sounds about right to me. That's my wrestling nerd voice. But yeah, man, it's like, come on, man, why y'all gotta read so much anything? This is fucking beautiful. It was clearly him writing a love letter to pro wrestling. It wasn't him saying, "Oh yeah, hey guys, I'm dropping some hints about where I'm gonna be next." Like that's not what it was. Like it didn't even sound like that in a little bit, in the least bit. Like he said woo and rock bottom. The Rock is in Hollywood. What the fuck does that have to do with him returning anywhere? Like I don't understand why people start digging into this. Like this, what does this mean for Bray Wyatt's return in our next clickbait news story? Right here on Wrestle Rap Talk, Matt Talk for show. It's like what? What are y'all talking about? This clearly has a point of just highlighting the appreciation or lack thereof for professional wrestling and the sport or genre of entertainment that this man clearly loves and is passionate about. Um, you know, it is a fairy tale for masochists. You know, these guys go out there and torture themselves for our entertainment, and we like to watch it for entertainment, and they're literally beating the shit out of each other. It's like where else you go see people try to cut each other with barbed wire and light tubes and beat each other with steel chairs and throw each other through tables? Where is any of that normal in society? Zero places outside of pro wrestling. So this is why we love pro wrestling. I think that was him pointing that out. You know, even where he said the comedy where people for people who criticize punchlines. The irony of that statement alone is just, you know, it probably falls on a lot of deaf ears because people don't look in the mirror a lot. But yeah, it's like it is what it is. Like you can't say, you know, it's like I guess it's just if you're gonna be a fan of pro wrestling, you can't always not enjoy it. Like there has to be something about it that you enjoy in order for you to watch it. You know, that's kind of what I got from him. He said a lot of stuff in those 200 and some characters that he used on Twitter, but I don't think he was saying what a lot of people were trying to make it out to be. He doesn't have anything with doing with. I still don't know whether he's coming back to AEW or WWE or whether he has plans for Hollywood or what the hell he's doing, but the man is a writer. He's a storyteller. He's a poet. Clearly a poet. I'm a writer, and I started off writing at 13 years old doing poetry, and like that's all this sounded like when I read it, and it sounded like amazing poetry, and I felt it in my soul. Like I felt it, especially where he said, "It's an escape." You know what I mean? It's it's an excuse to be a kid again. Nothing matters except the moment we are in. That's why I love doing this show because it takes me away from the reality of my life, which sometimes can feel like some bullshit. You know what I mean? So, the 90 minutes, 60, 90 minutes, 2 hours, I get to jump online and talk to you guys and hang out with y'all and talk about the sport that I love so much. It is an escape. You know what I mean? It is, something that, is a getaway from, the world, which is more and more fucked up every single day. And like he said, we know a place that has hope on tap because that's all pro wrestling is the good guys trying to overcome the bad guys. And that's what, we kind of view life as the good guys, which could be your boss, corporations, however you view governments, whatever you look at as the bad guy, and whoever you look at as the good guy, pro wrestling can take that and mash it up into a heel versus babyface thing and make you feel that for a minute without, as long as Vince isn't around. And we don't have to bring Sergeant Slaughter in during a war or anything like that. As long as we ain't doing shit like that, then we can kind of separate the two. Yeah, there's always those moments where reality crosses into the stories, and that makes it even better. But obviously, that's not what we're talking about here. In further stories, we harped on that a little bit just because, as a writer and as someone whose words gets dissected, and can be misconstrued, uh, I understand Bray because he kind of shot back like, yo, shut the fuck up, man. I'm kind of just talking. Like, I was just a nice little poem. Y'all kind of reading into the shit a little bit too much, man. Like, read it again. He's like, slow down, slow down, Timmy. I know you need a news story today. I know you need a news story for your little channel. Slow down. It's not what I meant. Oh man. In other news, Carmella did get hurt at a house show that WWE had. It was weird because if you saw the video, not sure if you saw the video, nothing happened. Unless she got like clipped by, she was in a triple threat with Liv and Bianca, if I'm not mistaken. And I could be wrong about that, but I think it was Liv and Bianca. I could be wrong, but she was running towards the corner, and I think Bianca like flipped over or something, and she may have caught the top of her neck. But I don't know. But then she kind of just fell to the ground and rolled out the ring, and that was that. And Corey Graves tweeted, "Happy to find out my wife's injured on fucking Twitter." And my first thought was, well, that's probably where you're gonna find something like that out because people were at the shows tweeting, and you're on Twitter. It's not. It's not. It's not WWE's fault. Because he tagged WWE like it was something that, like, they did it. Like, they didn't tell him immediately. Like, soon as it happened, yo, call Corey, call Corey. Like, they got to make sure she good. Like, they got to do the tests. Like, damn, man. And you could have read, like, the fact that, like, it could have happened. Like, people could have been tagging him immediately. Like, Corey, I just saw your wife get hurt. Corey, I could have just saw. So it's nobody's fault except for the people who were tagging you, and I figured that they might be helping because they're getting the alert to you faster. I don't know. He deleted the tweet maybe because he realized that maybe some asshole shit to say right there. At least you're finding out as soon as possible when it comes to something like that. Now I know there's some personal stuff you don't want all over the internet, but that's a injury like everybody knows is gonna know anyway. So if you want to know, doesn't matter how you find out, just as long as you find out. Now, if she had died in the ring or anything, I wouldn't want to be, but they would definitely be tagging him. So it's like, you live in the world of social media, Corey. Did you forget? You have a whole TV show where you make out with your wife all over the place. Like, you're a pretty public figure, buddy. So complaining about people tweeting you news about your wife isn't really going to go over that well. So just, yeah, glad he deleted that tweet. But also more injuries. There was an injury on. Well, I don't watch NXT, so I don't care. I hope she gets well. But anyways, I want to talk about the homie Miro because he was on social media and he was not happy. And this is something that I find extremely, extremely interesting because as I mentioned earlier, WWE's trying to add depth to their roster, which is extremely ironic once again because they fired over 200 people in the last few years. They fired an entire roster of superstars. An entire promotion's worth of superstars have been let go. Most for nothing. Most who were very usable and have like extreme amount of talent. Like, it's not even. I mean, Swerve is tag team champion. Him and Keith Lee, tag team champions in a whole nother company. You know what I mean? In the competing brand. You know what I mean? They didn't have to go to the indies. They're on the other network. Like, it's crazy, man. But Miro hilariously posted on Twitter during that John Moxley and whatever the fuck that dude's name was on Rampage, who had a title match that I had never heard of before. I'm sick of AEW doing that. They make that belt mean less every time they do that. I don't know if they know that or not, but they definitely make that belt feel less. Shout out to Bianca Lariano. Shout out to we got a Bianca in the building. I ain't mad at that. Yeah, but that was just real weird to me. But Miro, what was I saying? Miro is, he was on, Twitter, and he was like, who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck is this guy fighting for this belt? Uh, and so people were like, basically saying, I mean, you could insinuate, I guess you could just pick up on the fact he's insinuating, like, why the fuck is this random dude that's never on our shows fighting for the belt? Like I was saying, that's what I was saying. They make that belt feel less important every time they do that. Every time they just bring somebody in that no one knows and just gives them a title shot, it destroys your ranking system. It destroys everything that belt is supposed to be. People are supposed to build. Like, I don't care that they had a match somewhere and you just randomly wanted to give somebody a number one. I don't give a fuck. That makes no sense based on the rules you told me, Tony. It makes no sense. It's supposed to be a ranking system. Records are supposed to matter. Wins and losses are supposed to mean something over here. You know what I mean? But then you just get this random dude who looks like the other random dude that fought Chris Jericho, I think it was, with the light tubes and stuff. Nick Cage, like Gage, not Nick Cage, not the actor, but the wrestler. But like you keep bringing in these dudes and giving them title matches or big main event matches. I'm just like, man, sign them or don't. Like, what? Y'all already too overcrowded. Like, that's not a match that's gonna make me be like, oh, I gotta tune in to Rampage. No, you know what'll make me tune in to Rampage, nigga? Miro versus Moxley, nigga. Then I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm invested in Miro. I'm gonna watch. Not because some random dude who likes to bleed all over the place is on the show. That's where they be getting that shit confused. It's not just about the blood, man. It's about the storytelling. Like, if the story sucks, I don't care. Y'all could bash each other in the head with actual hammers until you bleed. If there's no story, it's just disgusting and violent, and I don't want to see it. I watch UFC if I wanted to see that shit. I go watch old UFC videos when it was really violent. If I cared that much about violence, I like storytelling. I'm watching wrestling because it's like a violent movie. It's not just because it's random violence. Like, it's just, it's crazy, man. So I hope they figure out something with Miro. Some fans responded to him, but he didn't really respond. He kind of just liked the video. He said, because the fan was like, "I think you had it better in WWE," and he just liked the comment. He didn't reply to it, but I feel like he did have it better in WWE. Actually, no, he don't. I take it back. Because any place you gotta watch your wife get hugged and kissed on while a man stands on your back, and nah, that's not better. I'm sorry. Nope. I'd rather just not be pushed. Just don't push me then. If this is the angle we're doing, just keep me off TV until you figure out something else. So I take that back. He's still being treated better in AEW than he was in WWE, because in WWE he was a part of Vince McMahon's sick fetish. Vince didn't even want people to know that he was married to CJ, even though she's one of the hottest women on the fucking planet, you know what I mean? Or at least on TikTok, you know what I mean? And why wouldn't you want, like everybody else could show their why you ain't telling Seth and Becky, you ain't punishing them, you ain't fired Becky and Seth for out in their relationship, or Rhonda for saying she was in a relationship, but Miro and CJ get reprimanded because they accidentally outed that they were a couple. I don't even know if it was really an accident, but whatever. So none of that made sense. They were, Vince McMahon was probably just chuckling like, oh, yeah, you kiss her. I was reading somewhere within the last few days where they were talking about the angle with Dolph Ziggler, and how Vince McMahon was basically in control of the angle and had all three of them backstage in his office practicing a fucking kiss. These are adult grown people who are practicing a kiss in front of a 70-something-year-old creepy ass old man. Now, apparently Dolph Ziggler was corpsing the whole time because he knew how uncomfortable and probably gross it was. Plus, he about to make out with Lana, so he don't give a shit. But I'm sure Rusev, who I think was doing this, who was the one doing this interview, was furious and not happy and very uncomfortable having to watch his wife. Vince is just like, no, do it slower. No, do it slower. Do it slower. Do it hotter. Like, it's like watching your wife be directed in a fucking porn. It's like crazy. And Vince is back there, yeah. Do it again. Do it again. Like, oh my God. Just the thought of that is horrific. And you got to sit there and take it in order to keep your job. Like, hell No, man. Hell no. I'm so glad that old bastard is gone. Whew. Like I'm uncomfortable for the wrestlers when you start thinking about stuff like that, man. Just that whole like if you remember you watching the channel back then, I hated that shit back then. I was just like, yo, this is so disrespectful to Miro. That man Bobby Lashley is all over his wife. I know it's whatever, it's acting, blah, blah, blah. But you could just tell there was some kind of sinister, weird shit going on with Vince McMahon in the back. The way they were doing that. Like it just was. That stuff just didn't seem necessary. We saw how shit led to Edge and Matt Hardy back in the day. Like, why even play with people's relationships like that? You don't know what people going through at home. You don't even care. Like they could actually be going through it, and you just throwing some more dick in the bed with his wife, just like here. You know what I mean? Here's something else to get her mind off of you for a minute while y'all arguing. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. It's like Vince doesn't think about that because ultimately his job was to entertain one person and one person only, and that was himself. So, um, let's see what you guys talk about. You should have read that Bray tweet while doing the poetry finger snap. I know, right? That's exactly what I should have done. Suck it up, Liv Morgan. Okay, Gruss. Okay, a little aggressive. But yeah, shout out to Liv Morgan, who's I hope she figured some things out this week. Cause she about to get booed like a motherfucker. Damn, I feel bad for her, but she about to get booed like they about to John Cena her ass. Watch. So she gonna get her cheers from the kids, but she gonna get booed. It's fucked up. Oscar is the EST. Oscar and the EST. No, no, no. I want to see. I mean, maybe in a match, but yeah, I want to see Oscar up against EO, uh, in a match at some point. And I wouldn't have mind. I wouldn't mind have seeing Oscar and EO in a team together. I know that. Does that sound racist? I don't want it to sound racist. It's not meant to be racist. It's just maybe they. I don't know. I'm just feel like their styles match. It's more of the style, even though one is a high flyer and one is strong style. I still feel like maybe I am racist. I'm not sure. I'm trying to make this make sense. I'm trying to make it make sense. It's not because they look the same. That's not what it is. That is not what it is. I promise. But they do look cool as a tag team. So they would look cool as a tag team, and I just think the dynamic of their of their styles would be really dope. The high flyer and the strong style wrestler. So I think that could work. Go ahead, man. That's not racist, man. It's just it just is what it is. I'm sick of seeing her and Asuka in tag teams with Lana and Naomi and shit that just don't match. I'm sorry, and I don't mean skin tone. I mean just their styles and their characters don't match. That is what I mean. That is what I mean. I promise. So, AJ Lee, AJ Lee ain't coming back to no WWE, bruh. Are you high? That ain't there ain't no way in hell that's ever happening. You know who her husband is, right? You know who her husband is. Uh quickly becoming one of the most unlikable people in pro wrestling. I thought that he was making his way back from the Colt Cabana stuff, but the fact that he didn't let it simmer enough, like to where people got used to him, and just start being a dick again immediately. It's like, damn it, man, you're making us remember all the reasons we don't like you. I was seeing Punk stand, so I understand him, but I am also extremely self-aware, and I can tell when somebody is being a douchebag. Even when I'm being a douchebag, and it might be going too far, I'd be like, you know what, Lalo, pull back a little bit, a little too far, being too mean now. I don't think CM Punk knows when he's being a dick, or you're virtue signaling to a level of looking like a clown. You know what I mean? And I think that CM Punk has definitely crossed that threshold in a number of uh, 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 instances. Speaking of politics or whatever type sports, whatever it may be, sometimes he's just like, I glad you're good at wrestling, buddy, because you just have no other endearing qualities. You know what I mean? He's like trying to be the good person, but is actually a scumbag. So it's like it just comes off as like narcissism. You know what I mean? It's like anytime you are saying something where you're trying to be positive, it just sounds like you want people to look at you for saying something positive. Like that's not, I'm gonna stand up for this group just so people know what side I'm on. Man, shut the fuck up. Go wrestle, bro. Get your foot healthy. You know what I mean? Come back, have a match with your old ass. I ain't trying to hear none of your fucking political stances. That's I don't care. So, oh man. Choppy pee. Hey man, why are we chopping choppy pee-pees? What happened? Stop. Layla was a fan of the Mexicals. I don't even remember who are the Mexicals. Who are the Mexicals? Was that nah. Who's in the Mexicals? Oscar and Bianca competed in the match Carmella got hurt in. Oh, it was Oscar and Bianca. Okay, it wasn't Liv and Bianca. Got you. Oscar and Bianca. So Dave, you saw that? You saw the clip, right? I don't know, how did she get hurt, bro? I don't even know how she got hurt. And they said she was in concussion protocol, so I don't know. Gruss said, "Let's be real. CM Punk is a douchebag." Um, I like to disagree with Gruss. I just can't right there. It's just not even something I can disagree with. Again, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Period. End of story. Still a fucking douchebag. It's what it is. It is what it is, man. And it's like a lot. Like he's a douchebag a lot of the times. Like I could be an asshole sometimes, but I'm never a douchebag. Like I said, douchebags just are oblivious to their assholeness. So sometimes it could go too far. Yeah, man. What else we got to talk about? I think that's it for today as far as the news. I can give you guys a quick recap. We could talk about AEW Battle of the Belts. It was an all right show. Um, it was only 60 minutes, obviously. Wardlow defeated Jay Lethal for the TNT title in a pretty good match because Jay Lethal did get a lot of offense in. But Wardlow ended up killing him with a lariat and getting the 1, 2, 3. Even with Satnam and those guys out there, Satnam and Dutt out there, causing distractions and attacking Wardlow at one point. So wasn't enough though. Wasn't enough to stop the one of AEW's biggest rising stars, who is still your TNT champion. Also, we had Thunder Rosa going up against Jamie Hayter. I'm sorry, and this was another part of Jamie Hayter's coming out parties. Unfortunately, she had some blood coming out of an orifice as well, because her nose got broken during the match. She was out there with Britt Baker and Rebel, obviously, and those ladies were trying to help her out at one point, but it wasn't enough. Thunder Rosa did retain her women's tag team championship as expected. And in the third match of the night at AEW Battle of the Belts 3, the Ring of Honor World Champion Claudio Castagnoli defeated Konosuke Takashita. Takashita. I'm going to go with Takashita. The name's really confusing sometimes. Konosuke Takashita. Did I get that right? I think I got it right that time. So yeah, this match was good, man. It was basically back and forth like a motherfucker. I ended up watching it. It's like kind of a, one dude do a move and then they showed the other dude show he could do something just as, impressive as Claudio did. And it was just like, all right, a little back and forth. But at the end of the day, after a giant swing, a bunch of European uppercuts, and he ended up hitting him with the bomb, with the Chikado bomb, or not the Chikado bomb. That's Rodriguez. Hit him with the hit him with Ricola bomb. Hit him with the Death Valley Driver first, then hit him with a Ricola bomb. So yeah, and got the win. So that was that for Battle of the Belts. It was an okay show. Not must-see TV by any stretch of the imagination. No titles were changed. The matches were okay to pretty good, but nothing great. You know what I mean? And it was what it was. So just a quick little recap on that. Monday Night Raw tonight. I think what we're looking forward to most is the match between Bobby Lashley and okay, I just saw some news that just bugged me out, and it's crazy because I have it written down over here. I'll mention it, but yeah, between Bobby Lashley and uh, Champa, I think that's the match that everybody's looking forward to tonight. Also, looking forward to seeing if they continue the story with Roman and Drew McIntyre and Karrion Cross on Monday Night Raw instead of just keeping it um, on SmackDown. Um, let's see. Yeah, okay. So Bobby Lashley apparently did an interview. Hmm. And I'm just gonna show you this paper right here. Just one time. I'm let me fold that so I don't give away all of the names on the. I want to give, but I just want to show you the Hurt Business is on this. I think you can see it. The Hurt Business is on this list of tag teams when it comes to fixing WWE Tag Division. Once again, we'll get into this podcast. That was another little sneak peek. But interview with Bobby Lashley did just drop, so I'll mention this before I get out of here. He was being interviewed by, let me see who he's just so I get these guys, on the Out of Character podcast, and he detailed a scenario where he crafted which he could see him come together, as a babyface faction with his homeboys, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. He says, "You know what? I was thinking what could happen to actually bring us together, and I thought about this the other day. I was like, if MVP made almost too dangerous, where he couldn't contain him anymore, and almost turned on him." He would need somebody to help him. There's only one person that could be almost. Then I may need some help, and if I need some help, you have Cedric and Shelton. You have Shelton. We take him down, and then we're baby faces again. They'll love us. Anything can happen. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Let's do it because Shelton and Cedric should be a staple in the tag division at this point. Like they just should. Shelton Benjamin is one of the longest tenured WWE superstars in the last 20, 30 years, like 20 years, I guess, last 2 decades. He's been around. You know what I mean? Obviously, with a break in between, you know what I mean? But he's been around for a long time. He's steady and he's still great in the ring. Uh, Shelton Benjamin, obviously, is one of the best wrestlers in ring performers that they have, hands down. So, and he's great on the mic and great at talking, has great character work. There's no reason Sheldon Benjamin should be on TV above fucking Ali, you know what I mean? Above anybody, any version of Elias or Elrod or Ezekiel, whoever the fuck that dude is. You know what I mean? It's like Cedric Alexander should be on TV above a lot of people. So I would love this, you know what I mean, if these guys actually found a way to come back together. I think the Hurt Business was a faction, just one of the many factions that were actually working that got broken up for no fucking reason. Like it made no sense to break up this faction. They were the coolest thing on Monday Night Raw while they existed, and the breakup was just so stupid. It was so stupid. And then these guys coming back later trying to kiss Bobby Lashley's ass or be his enemy at one point, and they're just little get-wits and catering crew all over again because they didn't have any direction. Everybody's not a main event player. Bobby Lashley is clearly a main event player. But he doesn't need a squad, but it's cool for him to have a squad, and you can make these guys baby faces. You know what I mean? They don't have to cheat to win matches. They could keep people from cheating Bobby Lashley out of whatever title he got. Then they could fight for the tag titles and, different things like that. Like, these are just things that need to happen. If you're gonna have these two guys, Shelton and Cedric, in the company, the it's the best thing that you could possibly do with them. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody's looking for a Shelton Benjamin Intercontinental Championship run, but I'm 100% down for him to fight for the US for the tag titles and win those again and be a tag team champion with Cedric. So you got to figure out places for people and exactly where they would go and where they would fit in the company and let them thrive. Let them thrive in that role. I know with Vince, if you got over and it wasn't his plan, getting yanked. It is what it is. It's his show. Once again, for about the third, fourth time in this podcast alone, that man was entertaining one person, himself. You know what I mean? Nothing else mattered but making sure that he got a chuckle out of it. That's why we heard balls on every show. You know, shit is whack, man. But this is a great idea by Bobby, and I'm glad I came across that before we got up out of here. Gruss says that Thunder Rosa sucks as champion. Hmm. Sucks is a strong word. I'm trying to like be more generous with my commentary, a little more night because pro wrestling is really hard. So I get that, but I'm also still going to be a critic when people deserve to be critiqued. And Thunder Rosa's championship reign has, for a lack of a better term, sucked. It's not her fault. How's you want me to say that, Gruss? It's not her fault. Blame the nigga writing the shows. He giving her 1 minute matches for mad long. You know what I mean? Giving her feuds that don't mean nothing. Putting her in a tag team when she's the fucking champion. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not how you get her on the show. Like, that, you don't, like, come on, man. Like, get that woman some feuds that we could sink our teeth into. Like, there had to be more people than Britt Baker. Like, I'm sorry. Like, she should be the only person she should be losing that title to, honestly, on some real at this point, the only people who are serious contenders for that title are Britt Baker, obviously. Now, I feel like they were building Jamie Hayter to something before she just took that L at Battle of the Belts. But I feel like Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander could be in. They just haven't done anything with their women's division. There's a few women. Jade Cargill should be the AEW Women's Champion. Let's just call it what it is. The TNT title looks better, so I'm happy she got that one. It's a better looking championship, or the TBS Championship, excuse me. It looks better, but yeah, I mean, she's a better champ than Rosa. Yeah, it's 1,000% accurate. She did an interview recently where she said promos are easy. She's like, I'm just talking shit. She's like, I mean, it's hard for some people, but it's like, I'm just turning myself up to 10. She's always going back to the Stone Cold thing. I'm just me turned up to 10. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and that's kind of what you get. That's what you're getting from Jade Cargill. She just seems normal, like a normal black girl. You know what I mean? Same with Sasha and all these motherfuckers, to where that's how they become big super duper stars. It doesn't seem like a gimmick. You know what I mean? It just seems like them being themselves. You know what I mean? For the most part. And it works because they exude a level of coolness that people want to attach themselves to. Thunder Rosa doesn't really have that cool factor. She just doesn't. She got the little badass, I wear cool face paint. She got some cool ring gear, but she doesn't have the cool factor. And I don't know, she hasn't cut any promos that make people be like, oh, she's so fucking cool. I want to be like, maybe some little girls from Texas or San Antonio want to be like Thunder Rosa, but in today's society, I imagine there's a bunch of little more ratchet girls that want to be like Jade Cargill and talk like her and wear blonde platinum hair and have long nails and snap their fingers and shit like that. Unfortunately, that's the way it is, but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, especially when it comes to entertainment. People want to be entertained, so Jade Cargill's more entertaining. And it's fucked up because she hasn't been doing this nearly as long as Thunder Rosa, apparently. So, but some people take to it like, flies the shit. Logan Paul is a perfect example. I mean, he's like the male Jade Cargill. Better, I would assume, because he only had 2 matches. And he's already, shit, it took Jade a long time before people were even taking her seriously. She had to get the match like 20-something, 30-something before people were like, you know what? This girl's all right. And I don't even think it's her wrestling ability. Like, she's a good in the ring. She's serviceable in the ring for sure. but I think it's just her character work. It was like, oh yeah, she's definitely a professional wrestler. Like she's an entertaining professional. She's gonna be around for a while. And you don't have anybody else like her in the business. Period. You don't have nobody like that that looks like her. She looks like an Avenger. 1,000%. She could play Captain Carter in a different universe where she was black and had platinum blonde hair. Uh, so I would love to see that actually. But yeah, man. What else y'all talking about? Gresham is 5-1. Why you hating on Jonathan Gresham, man? Gresham. Everything about Ring of Honor looks cheap. Cesaro is champ. He ain't never win nothing in WWE. Now he goes, just takes the belt off Gresham. I would have been pissed too. Yeah, I was pissed for Gresham. I understand why he's mad. Apparently that the bridges aren't completely burned between those two guys, between Gresham and Tony Khan. So hopefully they work something out to where Gresham can get right back in the title picture. If Castiglione does lose that belt anytime soon, it should be back to Gresham because Gresham carried that company when no one cared. And he was at his hottest when he started, helping that company, you know, off the ground without TV, all these different things during a pandemic, and you know, kind of got treated like Oscar or Drew McIntyre at one point. These guys carried you through a really dark time. Then soon as fans start coming back or there's an opportunity to get them up out of there, you get them up out of there as quick as possible. But Oscar will find her way back around to the women's championship. Drew already has. I think the same thing will happen for Gresh when it comes to the ROH title. Um, Shelton Benjamin needs to bring his mama back. No, he doesn't. Don't do that. Bobby Lashley can't get rid of the Hurt Business. They try to be his friends yeah, exactly. They still there. They still lingering all the time, all the time. Bring his mom back and lead the Hurt Business. They lose. She'll pull them. That's some Vince McMahon shit, bro. You want to bring back Lashley's sisters too? Want to bring back his sisters? They could be involved in the story? No. No. Lashley and the Hurt Business are frenemies. Yeah, I don't even think they could be frenemies because he could just beat the shit out of both of them at any time, as he's shown before. You can't be frenemies with somebody that can whoop your ass all the time. Like, at that point, you just a bitch. Like, you might as well just be friends. Like, if you still hate them and no. It's like you only hate them, or you only at that point it just feels like you only their friends, so they don't whoop your ass. Like you don't want that. You could be frenemies with somebody where it's 50-50 shot. Yeah, y'all both guys. You can't be frenemies with somebody that can just smack you around the room at any time. You and your friend at the same time. Nigga, you just trying to you in the protection mode at that point. They're like, yo, be nice to this nigga so don't stare at him too long. He might hurt us. Oh man, but that's it for today's show, man. Wow Nation, I appreciate you guys being here as always, checking in the chat. KGM, Dave, Gruss, always keeping me busy over here, man. In the chat, I appreciate you guys always, man. I think the guys will be back tomorrow. I'll be back for the blunt ratings. I think Trav will be back for a podcast here soon, and we'll be getting ready to do predictions for the next premium live event, which would be in the UK. So that's what we're building to, and we're building towards All Out in AEW. So a couple of big shows here in the next month or two, and looking forward to those. Obviously, it's good to be back on a regular schedule with you guys, streaming on a daily basis, at least close to daily, every other day at very least. But it's good to be back consistent on the channel, man. Go tell your friends there's a cool wrestling channel, man. And hopefully I'll see you guys again here soon. All right, until the next time, deuces.